I remember there was a guy here in community many years ago. He was a very new Baal Tshuva, cool young guy, married a couple of years, maybe 4 or 5 years, and unfortunately they weren't having children. Anyway, so one day he sits down and he says, I want to tell you a story. I said, okay, what's the story? He says, I was in a restaurant, one of the kosher restaurants, and this very holy-looking man walks up to me, long white beard, and he says, tzedakah, like, he was looking for tzedakah. So, I said, come to my office. I'm happy to help. So he meets him at this office, a particular time, particular day, and when he gets to the office, this man, we'll call him David. He says to this rabbi, he says, happy to give a tzedakah, but can you give us a bracha? He says, for what? He says, my wife and I were trying to have children for years already. So this rabbi says, I'm going to give you a bracha. I'm going to give you a bracha that you're gonna become pregnant before Hanukkah with a boy. But the condition is, I have to choose the name. So this guy, David, calls up his wife, he says, Tammy, I know it sounds a little weird, but I'm here, this rabbi met in a restaurant, and he says he can give us a blessing, and we're going to have a child, but he's got to choose the name. Are you okay with that? And his wife's like, I guess so. I always thought I would name my own kids, but I just want to have a child, so yeah, I'll take it, whatever. She says, okay. So he turns to the rabbi. He says, Rabbi, my wife agreed. He said, okay. He says, I give you a bracha. You should get pregnant. You're going to have a baby boy. You're going to name him Yonatan Uziel. He says, okay, thank you. Anyway, so I'm sitting down with this guy. He's telling me this story of what happened. I said, so what happened? He said, well, what happened was, he said this was, 4 months ago. He says, my wife and I are expecting twins. He's like, this has not happened before. And this is before Hanukkah, as he said. It happened before Hanukkah, what he told me. He said, the question I have, and the reason why we're sitting down to talk, he said, number one, my wife wants to know, do we still have to use that name? Number two, what do we do now that it's 2 boys? Do we split up the names, or did one of them Yonatan Uziel and one of them something else? So I said, you know what? This is an unbelievable story, and this is way beyond me. So I'm going to call her Moshe Weinberger. Moshe Weinberger is very, very, very chashuv a rav, and names are one of the many things that he knows. He's a real bucky, and so I called Moshe Weinberger. I told him the Maisa, and he says, first of all, whoever this rabbi was a very, very holy chashuv a person. You 100% have to use the name. You have to use the name. He says, in terms of how to use it, says you name one Yonatan Uziel, you name the other one whatever you want. We take brachas very seriously. Kadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham, "Va'avarechacha, I'll bench you v'heyei bracha, and you're going to be the bracha. You, your offspring, you have the power to give bracha."